Well, let's find out. This is my review of Awake.
Hi, Billy Mays here for the original Quick Chop. The fastest, easiest, safest way to chop, mince, or dice any vegetable, guaranteed. How it works. Just place the vegetable on the board, give it a tap, and you've got finely shredded cabbage in seconds for crunchy coleslaw. If you like salads, put all your ingredients in at the same time. Shrimp salad is all done with just a few taps. It has the power to chop nuts, almonds, walnuts, pecans. Use them for toppings for ice cream sundaes. Quick Chop even has...
Well, I must admit, Billy Mays sure does get boring after a while. How long have I been sitting here anyway? Let's see, it's 10:33. Yeah, only 30 minutes. Yeah, it's going very slow for Sunday. What's something that I can do to kill the time? Well, maybe I can listen to some music. Yeah, let me see. Alrighty, let's see what we can find here. Maybe something up here. Let's see. Green Day, American Idiot? No. Let's see. Gorillas? Nah. Nothing really seems to interest me up here. Wait a minute, I got an idea. Wait a minute. When the heck did these get here? Wait a minute. This might sting a little? This might sting a little. You know, I do remember listening to this a lot back in the day. And by back in the day, I mean 2 years ago. Still, I remember I used to love this thing. I used to listen to it every day. Come to think of it, when was the last time I ever listened to it? Actually, then again, when was the last time I made a YouTube video? Let's see. Maybe around September? Nah. Oh yeah, that's right, June! Silly me. Boy, I haven't made a video in almost a year. And all this time I was just wondering, how can I pass the time? Anyway. This gives me an idea. You know, I should review Awake, since I did promise that in the last video. But you know what? I think I'll make an exception. Let's go with This Might Sting a Little. Alright, this might sting a little. Oh man, it's been so long since I listened to this record. I forgot I even had this in my frickin' drawers. Man, I can't believe it. I've been listening to all this nonsense like Green Day, Gorillaz, music. Who needs that when you got Disciples? This might sting a little. Here, let me just take it out of the case and... okay, it appears that I don't have the disc in it. Where did I, is it in the drawers? Is it behind me? Wait a minute. Okay, it's, in the CD player. That's a little creepy, but hey, at least I don't have to make the effort to take the disc out of the case and put it in the player. So, okay, I'm just so excited, I can't even contain my excitement. I'm just, oh man, I'm super pumped for this album. Let's go. Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am back, and this time for a full-length video, not just some sneak preview of another video. And, well, it's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah, I know, right? It's almost been, what, a year? Yeah, I remember making a video a year ago saying that I would be back and making YouTube videos, and pff, how how foolish am I, man? I mean, come on, guys. I mean, I seriously thought that was gonna be my return to making YouTube videos. I mean, that is comedy gold right there. Anyway, I mean, come on. I was just a little busy, okay? I was just a little busy. I had lots of things to do, you know? And by lots of things to do, I mean absolutely nothing. Yeah, you get the point. I didn't really feel like making YouTube videos. Yeah, you get the point. But anyway, with that all being said, today in this video, we're going to be looking at Disciples, This Might Sting a Little. And at this point, you may be questioning yourself, wait a minute, weren't you supposed to be doing that video on that one album on Skillet? Oh, what was it called? Asleep? Oh, wait, oh, no, it was Awake. Yeah, weren't you supposed to be doing an album review on that? And, well, yes, I will get to that review. Just not right now. Because today, I want to focus on something a bit more interesting. Something a bit more obscure. Something that no one, and I mean absolutely no one, has ever even heard before. Okay, besides the 10 people that like Disciple, but the point still stands. But anyway, in this review, I am going to be taking a look at Disciples, This Might Sting a Little. That title sure does live up to its name, though. So before we get into this review, I think it's better if I fill you in on the history of Disciple as a band. Disciple is a Christian metal and rock band that was formed in the year of 1992 in Knoxville, Tennessee. The members consist of the frontman, Kevin Young, who was also the band's bassist and vocalist, Brad Noah, who was the guitarist of the group, and finally, Tim Barrett, who was the drummer for the band. The band first saw its beginnings with their independent release, What Was I Thinking?, and the band, a few years later, released an EP titled My Daddy Can Whip Your Daddy. Yep, that's the actual name of the EP. And no, I cannot believe that those words just came out of my mouth. However, the album that we are going to be focusing on is the band's second full record release, This Might Sting a Little, released in good old 1999. So with all that said, let's just dive right in. Okay. But with all that being said, I'm kind of in a weird position right here. You see, since this isn't a traditional TV show, movie, or heck, even a video game review, I'm kind of in a weird spot because usually I go into the story first, but there is no story, so, But you know what? I figure it would be appropriate if I would just jump into the positives and negatives of this album. Yeah, that seems appropriate. And let me just come out and say it right away that this album is not good. Okay, maybe I'm being a little too harsh on the album. So, before we get into why this album fails, let's see if there's any musical merit to be found here, you know, just to be fair to the album, because I mean, there's gotta be something good in every album, right? Okay, so let's see, what does Disciples This Might Sting a Little have? For one thing, I think that the album has, nice production? Their instrumentation. I think the main group, musically speaking, isn't that bad. I mean, granted, not the best thing that I heard, but for what it's worth, I'll take what I can get from this train wreck of an album. Oh boy, on to the negatives now. And strap yourself in, people, because you're up for one of the laziest albums ever conceived by man. Alright, so, let's start with the writing, which is unfortunately the biggest setback that the album has to offer. And, of course, it's important to know the genre that spews this kind of shallow material out, which is contemporary Christian metal. Yes, that is an actual genre. Look that up yourself. If there's anything that this genre is known for, it's definitely the mind-numbingly repetitive writing. I mean, come on guys. There's only so many times that you can write about loving Jesus before it gets stale and unoriginal. I mean, for Christ's sake, you can listen to one song and you won't need to listen to the rest because it's the same thing over and over again. This album is certainly no exception to this motto. Disciple definitely gives off a horrible first impressions with its baffling writing. Wait. Hold up. I said writing? Wait. I think I may have made a mistake in the script. Let's see. Oh yeah, I forgot. There is little to no writing in this godforsaken album. So, instead of doing any actual songwriting, the band instead uses Bible verses as a basis for the quote-unquote writing. Newsflash, stitching together a bunch of verses from the Bible out of all things isn't writing. That's just plagiarism. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, the Bible verses are in the lyric sheet. Huh? Well, at least they weren't completely lazy when it came to quoting the Bible. Good on you, Disciple. All jokes set aside, this sets a huge problem for the album, as there's no creativity or originality in the writing. Then look, if I wanted to read the Bible, I think I'd read the Bible and not listen to an album where a man is screaming verses from the Bible. And yeah, I know at this point, hearing me say the Bible is just kind of getting old, but I feel like I just kind of have to make that clear. So the writing is not acceptable, and that's painfully obvious. But let's talk about another issue that this album has, and that has to be the repetitive structure of the album. Now, remember when I said that I thought that the instrumentation was enjoyable enough? Well, it certainly is. For like 3 songs, and it's the same thing over and over again. Now look, don't get me wrong, these are definitely talented musicians, and they've shown that they can do much better than this, but the way that they repeat the same riffs and chords over and over again makes it come off as monotonous and stale. You see, instead of bringing in more creative ideas for these songs like any other band would, it stretches something that's decent enough for a grand total of 51 minutes, and padding is never exactly a good thing for your album. Oh, and don't worry people, you can definitely feel those 51 minutes drag on for what seems like an eternity. Not only that, but the song structure repeats itself over and over again, much like the instrumentation does. Sorry about that. Alright, so let me break the song structure down for you. So first, you have verse 1, then a bridge. Simple enough, right? Then you have verse 2, and then we get to the guitar solo. And finally, the final verses. Now, this is a good idea on paper. However, the unfortunate thing about it is that this is the basis for every song on this album. And oh my, does it get predictable and bland within the span of 3 songs. And that's something that seriously hurts this album. There's just no twist or experimentation, just straight up monotony. And oh boy, did it make this album an absolute chore to get through. I'm not even exaggerating, people. This album's pace is painfully slow. It practically goes by at a snail's pace. You could practically hear the clock ticking as you're just sitting there listening to this bland, uninspired piece of quote-unquote music. And it all has to do with the fact that there's little to no creativity in this abomination. It does absolutely nothing to justify its runtime, which really isn't even that long to begin with. There are many other bands that have a long runtime in their albums and still manage to pace it perfectly, like for example the Red Hot Chili Peppers with their album Stadium Arcadium. That album is 2 hours long, and yet it only feels like 1 hour, but that's because it had clever writing, great musicianship, and interesting ideas. Or if you want another example, how about Green Day with their album American Idiot? That one's 58 minutes and feels like it's 30 minutes. But that's because those artists have something that this band doesn't, and that's creativity. And this seriously hurts the album on 10 different levels. There's just nothing I can enjoy from this record. It all just blends together, and that's not something that you want your album to be. And that's not even to mention Kevin Young's vocal performance. I'm sure you're thinking, well, how about the vocal performance? Is that at least good? And to that I have to say, unfortunately, no. I say unfortunately because there are parts in the album that he sounds like he's legitimately trying to sound good. For example, the first few seconds of Mud Puddle. He sounds genuinely good in these few seconds, and he has so much potential, but what do we get? A very cheesy, uninspired Fred Durst type of vocal performance. Okay, yeah, I may be exaggerating on that part. He's not nearly as whiny and bratty as Fred Durst is, but he does do the thing where he phones in some fake anger to further emphasize and make the message seem more important. Only issue is that he can't do that well, and he certainly can't make the message seem more stronger. He does these quote-unquote epic screams that are supposed to grab the attention of the listeners, but it ultimately results in a very corny and downright awful vocal performance. Also, since this album is from 1999, this lumps this into the nu metal genre, which at the time was becoming big thanks to the likes of bands like Rage Against the Machine. So, you know what that means, rapcore lyrics! And his rapping is terrible. I know, shocking, I know. I'm sorry, but I don't really think I can qualify this as rapping. It also seems like he's trying to make rhymes off anything that he possibly can. I mean, these are Bible verses, so keep in mind that it wasn't written for someone to rap these verses, and no, rapping for Jesus does not count. His flow is mostly sloppy, but there is one song where his flow isn't too bad. That song is Underneath. But people, keep in mind that that's just one song out of 13 songs. So overall, I am not really digging his vocal performance here. Overall, I'm just not digging this record as much as I did 2 years ago when I used to listen to this thing all the time. And before I give my overall thoughts on the record, I want to go back to something that I mentioned earlier in the writing section. Now, you may have remembered that I said that all the lyrics are just Bible verses, and, well, that's not entirely true, as the band written some of their own lyrics, and you may be wondering, how do those lyrics bode with? And, well, I'll let this little clip speak for itself.
And furthermore, you're not listening to me, you don't hear a word I say, you don't understand the message I bring, you don't know the truth. Here's an idea, I'll just throw it at you. Let's say the sweetest man in all existence was brutalized so you could be with him. More than any man, humiliated in public.
Yeah, on second thought, I think the whole thing with the Bible verses being included as in the lyrics throughout the majority of the record wasn't so bad. Seriously, that was just, that was so forced and so cheesy and so awful. Anyway, overall, my opinion on this record is, it's awful. Like, genuinely awful. I don't even know how I listened to this thing for so long, and I don't even know how I thought it was even remotely good. The writing is too repetitive, the instrumentation is lacking, and the vocal performance is just really bad. So, my rating for this album, I give it a whopping 2 out of 10. The only thing that's saving this from being a 0 is the production. The production was pretty good. If it hadn't been for the production, I would have just given this thing a 0. That's all I really can say for this record. I just did not enjoy it. I do not want to revisit this record, and I'm not going to revisit it anytime soon. So yeah, there you have it. There's my review, my first review since 2019, I would believe. The first full review, that is. I know it did make a sneak preview last year, but I never actually made a full-length review, so, well, that was a fun, decent video to make. I liked talking about it, but, you know, it was obviously awful, so at the same time I was kind of dreading talking about it, but whatever. Anyways, if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later.